driven in 7 so far this season. Corby Otis, Skylar Wallace, we mentioned her in the pregame. Jocelyn Erickson, that's your top 4 tonight. Ava Brown is in the circle for the Gators. Goddard, Walsh, Kowalewski, and Williams rounds out the starting 9 tonight for Tim Walton and the Florida Gators, who make the short trip from Gainesville to Jacksonville. They'll play tonight in Jacksonville, and then they'll play in Gainesville tomorrow night.
Nice little Valentine's Day action in Florida, UF.
And we are set to go. Breezy, cool night here in Jacksonville. The first pitch to Kendra Falby. It's a left-on-left matchup, and Falby shows bunt. Ball 1 to start the action here tonight. 19th ranked Florida visiting Jacksonville. The Gators ranked as high as number 16 in some polls this season. Florida is 4-1, Jacksonville 2-2. Falby, a weakly hit ground ball back to Harwood. And it's misplayed at first. It goes behind Harrigan at first, and Falby races out to second base, and the Gators are in business. An unforced error early here by Jacksonville. That should have been an easy play. As we look at the replay, what do you see here?
Yeah, it's a good pickup by Harwood coming off the mound, and the throw's not really offline. I think just a little bit of nerves there.
So it gets by Harrigan at first base, and now Falby is at second, and Florida brings up Corby Otis now. First pitch to Otis is way outside. Otis hitting .308 on the young season. This is the 5th game for Florida, 5th game for Jacksonville. Otis batting from the right-hand side. Her front foot near the chalk on the right-hand batter's box.
And again, we talked about Harwood last weekend, just trying to find her groove and get set early in the game. She's got good pitches. She's got a good off-speed pitch to keep hitters off balance, but just trying to get that going early in the game.
The 1-0 pitch to Otis right down the middle for a strike. You're going to see a heavy down ball, some velocity, and a lot of ground balls for Ashley Harwood in the circle tonight for Jacksonville. Runner at second. The 1-1 pitch is fouled back. Jacksonville off to a 2-2 start this year, coming off a 9-0 victory against Fordham here on Saturday in Jacksonville in the River City leadoff. Allie Braytek has been the engine behind this Jacksonville offense. We'll tell you more about them when the Dolphins come to bat. Here's a very hard hit ground ball down the first base line, foul. Meanwhile, Tim Walton and the Gators, they've won 3 in a row. Their only loss this season came Saturday in Tampa, 2-1 against Michigan. Walton, a 2-time national champion head coach at Florida, back-to-back titles in 14 and 15. The 1-2. Swung on and fouled back. Harwood nearly got a strikeout there. Remember the way she started the game on Friday night against Ball State, struck out the first 2 or 3 hitters and got into a groove early. But, you know, now in this situation, you have an unforced error at first base with a runner at second. You just got to get your composure a little bit, don't you, against a team that is like Florida.
Absolutely, and just staying composed and working through the count.
This one hit to right field. It's going to be caught for Jacksonville for the first out. And Falby will stay right there. Allison Carter with the put out in right for Jacksonville. 1 away here in the top of the first. Early going here on ESPN+. Glad you've joined us here on this Tuesday night. Wind might be a little bit of a factor. We've had gusts here in Jacksonville today, upwards of 13 miles per hour out of the northwest. But a 60-degree night here in Jacksonville for Florida and JU. First pitch off the plate. And this is Skylar Wallace, one of the top players in the game, in the college softball game. The SEC Player of the Year last year. A first-team All-American. Wallace, one of the better players in the country. 1-0 pitch is high and outside from the left-hander Harwood. What do you see early here from Harwood?
Her ball is moving. It's just, you know, she's got to find the zone and really control her pitches, trying to keep everything down in the zone. If you elevate anything on these players, they're gonna take the ball.
There's a called strike to Skylar Wallace. This year for the Gators, Wallace leads the team with 2 home runs. We showed you her home run earlier against USF. She's second on the team in hits with 8 behind Kendra Falvey, who stands out there at second base. The 2-1. Pretty close, but off the plate, 2-2.
Yeah, and one thing you'll notice with these Florida hitters, they really work on eye traction. So anything that they're doing in the batter's box, they're tracking everything with both eyes, and that's what makes them so productive at the plate.
Hitters count for Wallace. The 3-1 is low and outside, ball 4. Not playing around with Skylar Wallace, who's had an RBI in every game this season except one, and that was against Michigan, the only loss, ironically, of the year for Florida. It's funny how that stuff works out. The only loss for Florida this year, Skylar Wallace went 0 for 4. The Gators are 4-1, Jacksonville 2-2. Harwood trying to work around some trouble here in the first inning. At the plate now, the catcher, Jocelyn Erickson. Erickson batting cleanup tonight, hitting .278 on the year. 5 hits, 3 driven in. Ducks on the pond for the Gators. Here's a well-hit ball up the middle. This one's going to get down. Center fielder can't find it. 2 runs will score for the Gators. And for Jocelyn Erickson, it's a 2 RBI double. And Florida leads 2-0 here in the top of the first. And it was a tough play in center. Braytech could not judge it, and it got over her head in center field.
Yeah, and if you'll see here on the replay, that ball just kind of gets sliced a little bit, so it's going to tail, and she gets a good jump, just loses her footing there.
So 2 runs score on the double by Erickson, and it's 2-0 Florida, top of the first. And here's the pitcher, Ava Brown. We'll see her in the circle in just a bit. Well, you mentioned with 1 out, runners at first and second, double play was in order for Jacksonville if they could have gotten it, but Florida capitalizes on the situation with runners in scoring position.
Yep, and that's what you're going to see this entire game is they're very situational. They know what they're supposed to do, where they need to put the ball.
The 1-1 to Brown is off the plate outside. So for Harwood, the first 2 runs against her tonight. She did not allow an earned run against Ball State. 2 runs scored, but they were both unearned on Friday night. The 2-0 coming to Ava Brown. Down in the dirt, ball 3, and runner Erickson will advance second to third. Ava Brown, a freshman from Montgomery, Texas, out of Lake Creek High School. And she will be in the circle tonight. A right-hand pitcher and first baseman. 3-0 count. And this one is upstairs. Make it 3-0 now. 3-1 according to our home plate umpire tonight, Carlos Guzman. Jill Poole is at first. Third base is Jose Chaparro, and you'll tell us about Jose here tonight.
Jose is a good friend of mine. We've met last year, and I've learned a lot about him. He's got a long career in officiating.
20th pitch of the night is ball 4, and Ashley Harwood lets out an exasperated sigh after that ball 4. She's given up 2 runs, and now there's runners at first and second. Again, the double plays in order for Jacksonville if they can get this and get out of it here.
Yeah, and like I said, we're going to see a visit here from Coach Haverman, and really that conversation, it's going to be a pitching change, actually.
Wow, a quick hook for Coach Erica Ayers. And we will take a quick timeout and tell you about the relief pitcher coming in here in the first after this. Welcome you back here to Jacksonville. New pitcher in the ball game. A quick hook tonight for head coach Erica Ayers. She pulls Ashley Harwood after 20 pitches, and she's now going with junior right-hander Krista Pritchard a Jacksonville area product out of Yulee. And Meg, you know her a little bit.
Yeah, Krista actually had a longtime catcher, Annalisa Weinberger, who's at Coastal Carolina now, but she's got some good velocity on her. She throws a really good off-speed pitch. She will work down a lot in the zone, as you're going to see here. She will throw off speed really well and will work that down pitch really well.
So she comes in to face Bailey Goddard, the right fielder wearing number 50. This is an all-Jacksonville matchup right here. Goddard is from Orange Park and Oakleaf High School, and Pritchard in the circle is from Yulee. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and it's a called strike on the outer half. For Erica Ayers to pull Ashley Goddard after 20 pitches, what do you think that she saw or didn't see in the first 20?
So I think Harwood just was having a little bit of a struggle getting settled in the zone. I mean, and you have a couple errors. The only thing you can really change is to try and see what the pitching is going to do differently.
So Florida leads 2-0. Here's a ground ball to third. This is a tough play, but it's a play that's made by Braytek at third. A run does score to make it 3-0. So it's a sacrifice and a ground out there. Jacksonville trades a run for an out. So Florida
and that is a big out here for JU. Goddard back in the lineup for Coach Walton this season. She was out, had a couple surgeries in the fall during the offseason, and she's a big bat in the lineup, so that's a good out, a big out right there.
So 2 away, top of the first, but Florida adds another run. It's 3-0. Off the plate inside to tonight's designated player, Reagan Walsh. Runner at second, 2 down, 3-0 Florida. Pritchard in relief of Harwood after a 20-pitch first inning for Ashley Harwood. She is out of the ball game.
There's that off-speed pitch I was talking about. Sorry to interrupt you. But that is the pitch that you'll see throughout this game that will help Krista be productive against this big swinging offense here for Florida.
You just have to, if you're Jacksonville, you're just trying to withstand the first wave by Florida. They've got 3 so far here in the first. Florida has jumped on a couple of teams this year. They've had a couple of run rules already this season. 12-1 against Illinois State in 5, 16-0 against Bethune-Cookman in 5 innings on Sunday. For Jacksonville, they're certainly hoping to avoid that.
And one of the things I didn't notice until now, a lineup slightly different for Florida. Their pitcher is actually in their batting lineup, Ava Brown, who just hit right above Bailey Goddard. Not a typical rotation you'll see, but I like it. It's something different.
Here's a ground ball to short. It's mishandled, and Florida's going to score another run. That one just got right up the middle by Jazz Jones at shortstop, and Florida scores their 4th run of the first inning. Reagan Walsh gets it by the shortstop, Jazz Jones, and I believe you probably call that one an error.
Yeah, in the books it will go down as an E6. I think it was just misstepped, misplayed. And again, Krista just trying to do her job to get out of the inning here.
So a runner at first after the run scores on the error at shortstop, an E6, as you mentioned, Meg. Jacksonville trying to get out of the first inning without giving up any more than what they have so far, 4-0 Gators. Florida's offense has scored in double digits in 3 straight games, all wins for Florida, 12 against Illinois State, 16 against Bethune-Cookman, and then on Sunday, 12 against South Florida. Throw back to first. Harrigan puts the tag on Walsh, but she's back safely.
And again, here in this first inning, just defensively for JU, obviously they've got to do the little things right, and that's what comes down to being most important in games like this is those little things, seeing the ball in, making sure you're reading the ball correctly on the ground, just doing one small thing at a time.
So officially, Harwood faced 3 batters and got 1 out. Gave up 2 runs, 1 of which was only earned. Only gave up 1 hit, but Coach Ayers making the quick hook here in the top of the first for Krista Pritchard. The 1-0 pitch is way upstairs at hitter. And so Ariel Kowalewski will take first on the hit by pitch. And Jacksonville's got a quickly gather itself before this thing could get scary with an offense like Florida. And Coach Tim Walton was telling me yesterday when I had a chance to sit down with him for a couple minutes that Florida does a great job of turning over the lineup. This bottom lower third can get it back to the top of the order. Ground ball, Jazz Jones, nice play, and Jacksonville gets out of it, but Florida scores 4 in the first inning, and Florida leaves her sisters lead things off, followed by Kaylee Harrigan, Kari Holtzrichter, Allison Carter, Madison Reynolds, Avery Harkis, Gabby Robles, and Jazz Jones. Round out the starting 9 for Coach Erica Ayers, her 7th season as the head coach here in Jacksonville. Made a quick pitching change. Ashley Harwood got 20 pitches, gave up 1 hit, and Coach Ayers decided to go with Krista Pritchard to get out of the first inning jam. It's 4-0 Gators here in the first inning as Jacksonville comes to bat. There's a called strike to tonight's leadoff hitter, Madison Braytek, the junior center fielder. Her sister bats behind her tonight. And we'll tell you more about the elder Allison in just a moment. Ground ball to third for out number 1. Ava Brown will vary her speeds in the circle. She's going from 58 to 65 on the radar gun, according to head coach Tim Walton. She'll top out about 66. And here's the aforementioned Allison Braytek out of St. John's, Florida, nearby in the Jacksonville area from Creekside High School. She's been the star player so far this year for Jacksonville. She sees a breaking ball from Brown for strike 1. Braytek is hitting .583. That's a healthy batting average.
Yeah, and she got to show off that bat a little bit last weekend with her home run, and she had some RBIs that really helped JU with their wins they had last weekend.
The 0-1 pitch from Brown, way outside. Allie Braytek leads the Dolphins in every offensive category. She's had 6 runs, 7 hits, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and 5 driven in. In fact, her 3 doubles make her top 15 in the country. And she takes a called strike. Of course, she played 5 games. There will be some pretty gaudy stats in the NCAA stat book right now. You've got players in the country hitting literally 1,000 as they've bat 4 or 5 times, and they've gone 4 for 4.
Absolutely, and it's one thing too to be a hitter, but it's another thing when you come in the box not afraid to swing the bat. You don't know what's going to happen unless you swing it.
Off-speed pitch. We just told you that Ava Brown likes to mix it up, and she goes off-speed upstairs and strikes out Jacksonville's best hitter, Allie Braytek. Here's a look.
And you see that rise ball, perfect elevation, that spin. It's going to look like a pitch down the middle coming in, and it jumps right at the last minute.
And I think what she just threw right there is something that Tim Walton told me yesterday. She throws a, quote, tween speed, and that means it's a pitch that's coming at you, and it looks harder than it actually is. And now we see Kaylee Harrigan to the plate with 2 down, bottom of the first inning. It's going to get chilly tonight, lows in the 50s. Our temperature at first pitch was 60. Harrigan takes down low. Harrigan, the Jacksonville first baseman, she's a senior, batting .500. 5 hits and 10 at-bats so far this year, 3 driven in for the Dolphins' first baseman, Kaylee Harrigan. She bats nobody on base, 2 outs. And there's a generous strike call for the Gators. Looked to be off the plate outside, but Ava Brown gets a called strike. We're talking about the tween speed, throwing a pitch that looks harder than it is. Coach Walton told me yesterday that she gets some cheap outs, some swings and misses with that pitch. Here's the 2-1 to Harrigan, down low, and it got away.
And again, when you talk about the game of softball, your pitcher is always going to be that primary focus, but it's also the teammates that come up behind you on defense and how they work for you and how you manufacture those outs.
High fly ball off the bat of Harrigan. It's going to stay in the park. A shallow fly ball to left, and that'll end the inning. Corby Otis gets the put away for Florida in left. Nothing for Jacksonville in the first inning. We go to the second. Florida leads here in center. Allison Carter in right. From the left to right of the infield, Allison Braytek, Jazz Jones, Madison Reynolds, Kaylee Harrigan, Krista Pritchard is in the circle, and Avery Harkis is behind the plate for Coach Erica Ayers tonight. Again, Ashley Harwood, tonight's starting pitcher, removed after 20 pitches. Either some ineffectiveness or something that we're not aware of. The reason why that Ashley was removed from tonight's ball game after just one hit given up in the top of the first inning. Florida leads Jacksonville 4-0. And back to the top of the order for Tim Walton is Kendra Falby. Falby 0 for 1. She reached on an error by Ashley Harwood. And here's another bouncer back to the pitcher. The second baseman will take it, but no chance. Falby very fast down the first base line.
Yeah, and you see how quick she gets out of the box there. She's just a good read on a slow hit ball. We'll get another look at it here. Again, Krista not cutting that off. There's no chance at making that play. That's just a well hit ball.
Do you think that the pitcher should have taken that one, or are you okay with second baseman taking that one?
I think on that one she probably should have cut that off. It's a slow roller, and when you've got speed like that, your only chance there is a glove it and flip.
Very similar to the ball that Falby hit and reached on an error in the first inning. And that was a throwing error by the pitcher, Ashley Harwood, and maybe that kind of showed her nerves a little bit in the first inning. Swing and a miss. Stolen base opportunity, and she's out. Avery Harkis throws out Kendra Falby trying to steal second. Here's a look.
You see there's a good jump there, but that throw just right on the money.
Great throw.
And you see the bang out by Jose Chaparro over there.
So Kendra Falby is caught stealing at second. She had 2 steals coming in tonight. And she has wiped off the board here. And the Dolphins get a big out at second base on the throw down to second from Avery Harkis. That was a great play by the Jacksonville catcher.
Yeah, Harkis had really good timing just getting rid of that ball.
Corby Otis now at the plate, the left fielder for Florida with 1 down. Fly ball to right. Allison Carter tracking it. She catches it 2 steps away from the warning track and right. Two away for Jacksonville. And here's the ever dangerous Skylar Wallace coming to the plate. But she bats with nobody on base and 2 outs. If there's ever a situation you want to face Skylar Wallace, this is it right here. 2 outs and nobody on. The first pitch is a high strike, but she gets it called. Wallace, the reigning SEC Player of the Year, redshirt senior out of Woodstock, Georgia.
And that pitch there at the top of the strike zone, again, if you go by the college strike zone, it's the sternum to the top of the knee.
The 0-1. Outside, but a called strike. That one caught the plate.
And Pritchard here doing a good job of getting settled in, trying to get some energy here and get this third out. Try and take that energy back to the plate.
Skylar Wallace hit .447 last year, a top 10 batting average in the country. The 0-2 grounded up the middle. Good play by Reynolds at second, and Jacksonville gets out of the inning. That was a nice backhand play by the Jacksonville second base. From left to right in the outfield, Corby Otis, Kendra Falby, Bailey Goddard out of Orange Park here in the Jacksonville area. From left to right on the infield, Ariel Kowaleski, Skylar Wallace at shortstop. Second base for the Gators tonight, Mia Williams. Avery Gels at first. Jocelyn Erickson behind the plate catching Ava Brown here tonight for Florida. 19th ranked Gators lead the Dolphins 4-0. A first pitch called strike from Ava Brown. Leading off the bottom of the second for Jacksonville, Kari Holtzrichter, the designated player, hitting 4th tonight for the Dolphins. Braytek The two sisters and Harrigan have gone 0 for 3, so Jacksonville does not have a hit yet off of Ava Brown here into the second inning.
And if I'm JU here, you talk about the change in speeds and that in between. Really, JU's focus here should be to execute on the pitches that are down and flat in the zone and adjust to that off-speed pitch with 2 strikes.
Florida 4-1 after the opening weekend, and Coach Tim Walton said that they pitched really well. Of course, they've got an 0.21 ERA, top 5 in the country here in the early going. Florida pitching has only allowed 1 earned run in now over 35 innings this season. The only earned run came off of Olivia Miller in relief against Illinois State. And the pitching staff for Florida pretty much is all new. And Coach Walton liked how they handled the situations, the pressure of the first couple of games. This one fouled straight back by Kari Holtzrichter for Jacksonville. Dolphins do not have a hit yet off of Florida pitching. The 3-2 pitch, shallow fly ball. This one's on the infield. Skylar Wallace will take it at short. One away here in the home half of the second.
And when we talked about JU last weekend and with their hitting adjustments from last weekend to this weekend, one of the things I'm noticing slightly is some of their timing. They're still a little out in front on the ball, and I know that may be tough with the change in speed pitch to pitch off of Brown.
Called strike to Allison Carter. Coach Erica Ayers, talking to her late last week, the junior out of Stafford, Virginia, at the plate right now, said this is a power kid in the middle of the lineup that we're looking for some good things this year out of Allison Carter. Ground ball pulled to the first base side, out of play. Jacksonville 2-2 to start the year. A new hitting coach this year, Jake Sidwell, came over to the JU program from Virginia, the last 4 seasons on the Virginia staff. And Coach Ayers was telling me that the kids have really taken to him. And, you know, we did 2 games together on Friday, and I thought the second game, Jacksonville's offense really came out firing against Ball State. They also continued that in their last ball game against Fordham, which they shut out Fordham 9-0 over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And that second game seems to be when they get their big jump. So I think the transition there is just making those adjustments early in game 1, and there's only a game 1 tonight. So
swing and a miss and a strikeout for Ava Brown. Here's a second look at the strikeout for Brown.
Again, you see that ball just going off the plate, trailing. That's a great 0-2 pitch to have.
So Carter strikes out, and now it's Madison Reynolds with 2 outs, bottom of the second. The JU second baseman at the plate. Coach Ayers said that offensively, Jacksonville wants to lead the ASUN in doubles, try to hit line drives, go gap to gap. Not necessarily a power hitting team this year for JU. They just want to go gap to gap and try to hit a bunch of doubles this year. 1-0 pitch down low in the dirt from Brown. Well, so far, Allison Braytek leads the team in doubles with 3. Kaylee Harrigan has 2. Avery Harkis has 1. 2-0 pitch. There's a called strike right down the middle.
And when you talk about that gap-to-gap mentality, you know, the only way to win a game is, right, to score runs. And so if you're manufacturing gap hit balls, you're really going to be able to move those runners and execute, you know, talk about that being situational mentality.
2-1 pitch from Brown. Upstairs. Coach Ayers, talking about this Jacksonville team, said we're probably as good as we've been the last 3 or 4 years. After COVID, they had a good season. Alyssa Bilodeau, her senior season. Alyssa, now the director of player development at Clemson, had a record-breaking career here in Jacksonville when she was here. Down low in the dirt on the 3-1, and Jacksonville draws a 2-out walk. Well, let's see what the lower third of the Jacksonville order can do here with 2 outs.
Now batting number 4, Avery.
So we've got the rowdy hat in the dugout over there, so they're trying to get some momentum here. The 2-out rally cap. I lost the rally cap term for a second there, my apologies. But the official rally cap for the JU Dolphins.
Fouls.
Little Mardi Gras theme.
Love it. Fouled straight back by Avery Harkis, who made a heck of a defensive play, throwing out Kendra Falby, a very tough runner to get. Avery Harkis made a great throw defensively last half inning. Let's see what she can do on the offensive side.
Absolutely, and that's good momentum to bring to the plate. You're making, you're producing for your teammates on defense, and so carrying that energy to the plate.
Jacksonville has a couple of players who can catch. Hallie Kern, we've seen her, the senior out of the Jacksonville area. But Avery Harkis takes the start behind the plate tonight. And she's doing a good job, if you're Jacksonville, of making Brown work here. Trying to work the count. The sophomore catcher up to her with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Jacksonville trying to scratch the first run of the night for the Dolphins. Called strike on the outer half. Brown seems to be getting that corner of the plate strike call tonight.
Yeah, and that ball is really moving, and so it's catching that front outside corner there, and like I said, she's going to move the ball really well all night, so they've just got to adjust and have good timing.
1-2 pitch. Didn't get that one, just off the plate outside. 2-2, the count even. Tim Walton saying this week that he feels like this team's athletic, they're competitive, talented. They've got a long way to go from an experience standpoint with some underclassmen playing a lot, but this Florida team nationally ranked in the top 20. Said we could potentially have a lot of All-Americans this year. But, one thing he said, Meg, that we have a lot of talent and potential, but Coach Walton said if I'm still talking about potential at the end of the year, then we probably have a disappointing season. The 3-2 pitch. Ground ball to short. Skylar Wallace backhands. It's a tough play, and it won't be. Oh, they called her out. Wow. That one looked to be close and looked to be safe to me, but that's going to be the final out of the inning. Skylar Wallace. Let's take a quick look going to our break.
And that's a great pickup in the gap. You'll see it on the replay here. And the throw off the pick there. And don't get a great view of the foot in the catch, but still a really close play.
That'll take us to break. Good play by Skylar Wallace.
Live sports.
The Dolphins and the Gators battling as we go to the third inning. Andrew Gibson alongside Meg Mahalik as we take a look at the coaching resume of Jacksonville coach Erica Ayers. 7th season here in Jacksonville, here since 2016. A player at George Mason back in her college softball playing days. And Meg, going back to the last out recorded by Skylar Wallace, I might have been ejected if I was Coach Ayers. But that we looked at the replay, and it looked to be out by half a step.
Half a step on the official replay, and that's a call I would definitely want to come out and get hyped up about, too.
1 pitch, 1 out. Recorded by the Jacksonville left fielder tonight. Gabby Robles, 1 out on 1 pitch. As Ava Brown flies out. But yeah, it was a very close play as Brown at the plate. Erickson to fly out to start the inning. But that was an incredible play by Skylar Wallace at shortstop. Backhand, you think there's no chance. And that's why Wallace is one of the handful of best players in the country.
Yeah, and that's just a showcase of athleticism there, to be able to cover that gap, that 5-6 hole, and even the 3-4 hole as a second baseman, being able to cover that ground. That's such an important thing to have as a middle infielder. Glove work and range.
So this is Krista Pritchard continuing in the circle after she replaced Ashley Harwood in the first inning. 1-1 pitch. There's a called strike to Ava Brown, tonight's starting pitcher. Batting for herself tonight for the Gators.
And you've got to give Krista her kudos here. She's gotten 2 first batters in the last inning and this inning, first batter as an out. And to keep these hitters off balance, this is a strong hitting team, 1 through 9, all the way through. So to keep them off balance how she is right now, that's a great job.
25th pitch of the night from Pritchard. Here's a Line drive to the shortstop, Jazz Jones. That one hung up in the air a bit, and Jones able to catch it on the fly for out number 2. Yeah, she's really settled down and done a nice job. Florida scored 4 runs in the top of the first, but they've not scored since. Here's the replay on the liner to short.
Just jams it right on the handle. That's a good pitch to go to.
A sinking line drive settles into the glove of Jazz Jones, the freshman shortstop for Jacksonville. Two away, top of the third for Bailey Goddard. The Florida right fielder is 0 for 1 tonight. A ground out, but it scored a run in the top of the first inning for the Gators. And this one gets away, and it's going to hit her. Goddard gets hit by the pitch. Let's see where this one hit her. Right on the elbow pad. That's why you wear it. So Goddard is aboard with 2 outs in the third. And now Reagan Walsh, the designated player, comes to the plate for Jacksonville for the Gators. She was hit by a pitch her last time against Jacksonville pitching. Reagan Walsh with a hit and an RBI. That was the one that got through in center field by Braytek. The 1-0 pitch. This one smoked down the third base line fair. This could be and will be extra bases. The cutoff throw at third not made, but runners will remain at second and third, and that was a bullet double down the line by Reagan Walsh. She saw that one pretty well. So Walsh is 2 for 2, and that's her second double tonight. The designated player is doing her job at the plate tonight for the Gators. And now Kowalewski comes to the plate, the Gators' third baseman. Here's a high fly ball. Allison coming in, and she will make the catch in right field. Carter records the out. The Gators strand 2 at second and third, and we go to the bottom half of the third. Florida remains in his 19th season as the head coach in Gainesville, the 5-time SEC Coach of the Year. Tim Walton, the accolades. You can write a book about Coach Tim Walton. He's been a legend in Gainesville, and had a great opportunity to speak with Coach Walton this week, talking about this team, the transfer portal, NIL, a lot of stuff that we talked about this week with the head coach of the Gators, and really just thoughts on this 2024 team. He said we can hit and run, we can hit behind hitters, but he was not overly impressed with the Florida offense in the first handful of games. He said they had a lot of counts to hit in that they just didn't. He said some weak pop-ups. He said, we'll eventually hit, but the first weekend or so, they did not hit as well to the standard of Florida softball. And when you talk about what Florida has done the first handful of games, they run-ruled a couple of teams, so the standard certainly is high for the Gators.
Yeah, and I think some of it plays into some of the conversation we had before the game started with, you know, that productivity. You've got runners on. The goal is to score every run that gets on base, and so I think some of his expectations are we have a runner on and we're leaving them stranded, just like they ended this last inning with 2 runners left on. So I think that's their goal, is to get to the end of the season and not have that happen as much.
Gabby Robles, the Jacksonville left fielder, leads off the home half of the third. 4-0 Florida. Here's a base hit to left. Robles finds the gap between third base and left field, and she serves it into left for a base hit for Jacksonville. And for the Dolphins, that's their first hit tonight off of Ava Brown.
She does a great job of just seeing that ball in the outside corner and timing that pitch. If you hit an outside pitch too early, it's going to be a pop-up or a little dribbler, so she had really great timing on that.
So Gabby Robles breaks up the brief no-hitter for Ava Brown here in the bottom of the third inning. Now Jazz Jones, the Jacksonville Shortstop at the plate. Lower third of the order here for the Dolphins. The freshman from Punta Gorda, Florida. Count 1-1 on Jazz Jones. For Ava Brown, her first hit surrendered tonight. No runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts for the freshman out of Texas. Freshman on freshman matchup. There's a good breaking ball over for a strike.
And that's that pitch I'm talking about, Andrew. Just laying off of that pitch when you don't have 2 strikes is perfectly fine because now you have to make that adjustment and execute.
2-2 the count now on Jones. Jacksonville looking for their first victory ever against the Gators. Florida is 28-0 against Jacksonville in their history. The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. The backwards K for Ava Brown. And here's a look on the strikeout for Brown.
And again, that curveball just breaking off the plate there. Pitch before that was a chase pitch, and she brings that pitch right back over to hit for a called strike.
Go back to the top of the order now. Madison Braytek at the plate for Jacksonville. And there's a called strike on the inner half. Going back to the Florida-Jacksonville series. Florida 28-0, 15-0 at home, 11-0 on the road, 2-0 at a neutral site. So the Gators have owned this series between the two teams. Jacksonville playing here tonight and then going to Gainesville tomorrow. This one in the dirt, throw down to second, and they're going to have the runner hung up between first and second, and she's tagged out. So after getting a base hit, Gabby Robles is tagged out between first and second. And there's the replay.
And really on that pitch as a base runner, if you already know the catcher is going down to block, but you're not going while the ball is outside of the glove, you're not really getting a good jump on that. So I think she just got a late jump. And
ground ball. This one is foul down the third base line. So there's now 2 away here, bottom of the third. And, you know, that's an important base runner that goes by the wayside for Jacksonville. Down 4-0 against an offense like Florida, you've got to have base runners stay on base.
Yep, you got to be heads up, and you've got to let your hitters really push you. You know, don't try to take too much as a runner.
Maddie Braytek is 0 for 1 with a ground out tonight. Off the plate outside to Braytek. Leadoff hitter for the Dolphins, playing center field.
And again, pitch sequence here. She may bring that same pitch right back over the outside corner.
This one well outside from Ava Brown.
I will say, though, JU, the first 3 innings so far, they haven't been afraid to at least swing the bat. You know, they're not watching a lot of pitches. There's only been 1 looking strikeout so far.
2 outs, bases clean. The 2-2 pitch outside, and that is ball 4. And here's where the runner that's tagged out between first and second really, you know, you see that and you're like kicking yourself if you're Jacksonville, because then you've got 2 outs, runners at first and second, potentially first and third.
Yeah, and if you take away that runner that gets tagged out, you've got 1 out runners on first and second, and you could potentially, you know, bunt situation or that gap-to-gap mentality they're trying to work on.
Well, here's the situation you want if you're Jacksonville in a 4-0 ball game. You've got your best hitter at the plate, Allie Braytek, with a runner at first base. And like we said, if Robles doesn't get tagged out first to second, then you've got a real opportunity with runners at first and second. But Jacksonville's situation here is Braytek at the plate, runner at first, 2 outs. Let's see if, from Jacksonville's perspective, they can get something going. And this is a pop foul. This one right back to the press box area, right behind us. Allie Braytek is 0 for 1 tonight. She struck out against Brown her first time. Braytek, 2 homers on the year for Jacksonville. The 0-2 down in the dirt. The Gators have 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors. Jacksonville, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 error committed tonight. Throwing error by Ashley Harwood in the first inning. 1-2, this one right back to Brown. A hopper back to the pitcher, and that'll be easy work for Ava Brown. Jacksonville leaves 1 stranded, and we will go to the... So some Jacksonville area travel softball in the crowd tonight, watching the best of the best at the college level, the Gators against the Dolphins. Great to see that here tonight in Jacksonville. Mia Williams at the plate here for Florida against Krista Pritchard, who's done some nice work here in relief for the Dolphins as she goes into the 4th inning. A bouncer up to the plate. Krista Pritchard out of Yulee, nearby in the Jacksonville area. 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, no strikeouts. So Pritchard has done a nice job in relief of Ashley Harwood, who, if you just missed it, she left in the first inning after just 20 pitches.
Yeah, and she's done a real good job. It's funny, I haven't seen her pitch a ton since I umpire here, and so I had her in high school ball and postseason, and she's definitely grown a lot from then to now. So she's doing a great job against this Florida offense.
Mia Williams, the second baseman for the Gators, 0 for 1 with a ground out tonight. Florida leads 4-0, top of the 4th. 3-0 the count. And there is ball 4.
Batting number 27, Kendra Falvey.
First walk of the night issued by Krista Pritchard. We just mentioned that she hadn't walked anybody, and right on cue, she offers her first walk tonight, the junior right-hander.
I will take the fall for that one. But I will say, though, this Mia Williams was the person that got thrown out on the stolen base, so we'll see if we can get a repeat of that.
Kendra Falvey, the speedy center fielder, shows bunt for strike 1. Well, the issue defensively for Jacksonville has been, it seems like Florida has had a base runner in almost every inning so far. Jacksonville has not dealt with situations where they don't have runners on base, and that's tough on any pitcher. And here's a slap hitter type of base hit right there for Kendra Falvey. She just serves that one into the left field gap for a base hit.
Yeah, and Falvey being a slapper, again, being situational and aware that I just want to move my runner. Doesn't try to do too much with that pitch. She just gets a barrel on it and drops it into the gap there.
Here's another look at the slap hit by Falvey. 2 hits on the night for Kendra. And she's going to up her average over 430 here in the early going. Falvey coming into tonight batting .429. And here's Corby Otis. Otis will put down a bunt to try to advance the runners, and everybody's safe. Pritchard did not have a play on Otis, running very hard down the first base line, and now the bases are loaded for Florida here in the 4th. Now some trouble for Krista Pritchard. Bases loaded, nobody out. Gators are threatening here in the 4th inning. And this is a tough part of the lineup to navigate as well, because guess who's at the plate? Skylar Wallace. Bases loaded for one of the best players in the country. Ground ball, base hit to right. This will get in 1, maybe 2. Second run comes home, and she will score standing. It's an RBI double for Skylar Wallace, and the Florida Gators lead 6-0 here against the Dolphins in Jacksonville. RBI double as the third pitcher of the night for the Jacksonville Dolphins, a senior left-hander, Shelby Harp. You know, Meg, she's somebody that's coming off an injury for Jacksonville. Coach Ayers told me last week that they want to try to slow play Shelby Harp. Well, she's thrown into the fire here, 6-0 against the nationally ranked Florida Gators. There's nobody out, runners at second and third, a tough spot to come into for the left-hander Shelby Harp.
Yeah, and again, going to that, she's a senior. She's got, a lot of time under her belt, so even putting her in this pressure situation and coming off an injury, she's going to stick to what she knows and keep her composure. As a senior, I know that's what she has on her mind right now, just being composed, hit my spots, work to get out.
2 RBI base hit for Skylar Wallace made it 6-0 here in the 4th. And here is Jocelyn Erickson. looked to be pretty good, but it's off the plate outside, 1-1. Florida has 6 runs on 7 hits. Jacksonville no runs on 1 hit tonight. 1 error committed by the Dolphins. Clean softball, no errors for Florida. Baseball starts this weekend. Here's a fly ball, but foul down the third base line. Speaking of Gator baseball, the head coach of Florida, Kevin O'Sullivan, got an extension last night to remain on as the Florida head coach for a long time, into the 2030s for Coach Kevin O'Sullivan of the Gators program. And this one gets away at home plate. Throw down is in time. Nice job by Avery Harkis to get it back to Harp at home. Here's another look at the replay.
And Harp here being a defensive pitcher and gets there just in time and keeps the ball in the glove. That is the key on a pass ball, keeping the ball in the glove at home.
So Corby Otis is out at home plate, and that's the first out here in the 4th. And that's got to be a sigh of relief here for Jacksonville as you get another base runner off the base paths for the Gators offense, who's already up 6-0 here in the game. So Erickson remains at the plate. The 2-2 count is a pop fly. Carter coming in from right. She makes the play. Throw to home is going to be not in time. A head-first slide for Skylar Wallace. And the Gators lead 7-0 here in the 4th. A sacrifice fly for Jocelyn Erickson. So give her an RBI. Makes it 7-0. Here's another look at the sac fly. Out recorded for Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's a good job. A good pitch call there to get that pop-up.
Allison Carter makes the put out in right. And now Ava Brown, tonight's starting pitcher, batting for herself here in the 4th. That one looks pretty good, but it's off the plate outside. Shelby Harp took a pretty lengthy look back toward home plate. She thought she had that one for a strike. Took a look at home plate and gave a nod and said, okay. 2 outs here in the 4th inning, bases clean for Jacksonville defensively. Harp, the 3rd pitcher in the game for the Dolphins. And that one looked to be pretty good as well, but a little bit down. What are you seeing here, Meg?
Yeah, that one was just low. I missed the view of the pitch before that, but looking at that one, it's just low in the zone. Again, officials in college are really going to stick to that top of the knee and that sternum at the top of the zone. There's some terminology that you can spit out, but technically top of the knee and the sternum.
2-0 pitch. And there's a called strike. Harp thinking, finally, if you're on the Jacksonville side. Florida side looks good so far for the Gators, up 7-0 here in this ball game. Top of the 4th inning. First meeting between these two schools this season. They'll meet again tomorrow night in Gainesville. 2-1 pitch from Harp, and they're going to call time. And
so that's that timing violation signal. We saw it a couple times last week, and one of the rule changes for NCAA is really enforcing that 60 seconds between innings and the 20-second hitter and pitch clock. So if there's a violation on the pitcher, it's a ball on the batter. If it's a violation on the batter, it's a strike.
So a violation on Brown that time. It's 2-1. Ground ball to shortstop. It's going to get through. Braytek thought she might have had a play on it. Would have been a backhand try for Jazz Jones at short, but it's a base hit through the left side for Brown. And here's another look at the base hit.
Again, Brown doing just a good job of putting the ball in play and forcing the defense to make a play on her, and they just don't get the job done.
You know, something that Tim Walton told me yesterday is that people don't realize how difficult it is defensively in college softball. It is really hard to get 21 outs, especially if they're putting the ball in play. Ground balls, fly balls, wherever it might be hit, it's really hard defensively at the highest of levels, which you know, Florida and Jacksonville playing at the Division I level is the highest level of college softball.
Absolutely, and when you think about just the number of things that go into a ball even before it's hit, you've got the pitch, you've got the movement, you've got the timing, you've got the connection, and a player being able to make a play off the connection on the bat.
So a base hit by Ava Brown puts Bailey Goddard back at the plate. The Jacksonville area native out of Orange Park and Oakleaf High School, a former Oakleaf Knight, is playing against Jacksonville tonight. They're a starting right fielder for the Gators. Bailey Goddard, injured last year, back here this year in 2024. Takes a called strike. Goddard grounded out her first time, and she was also hit by a pitch tonight. Drove in an RBI earlier in the ball game.
And I talked to a friend of mine to get some tea on Bailey Goddard, and she's coming back off of 2 surgeries that she had in the off season, and she's a big powerhouse for them the last few years, and so I'm sure that Walton is so excited to have her back in the lineup. She homered against USF in the game that they played on the 11th.
I remember Bailey was a big-time power hitter at Oakleaf, and that's a power softball high school program here in the Jacksonville area. 2-1 pitch, swung through and missed. That was a good pitch right there by Shelby Harp. And we talk about the power hitting of Goddard. She was thinking about a home run on that
Absolutely,
pitch.
that big swing there. And one of the things that I think about when I think about Bailey Goddard is when she got to Florida, she was not an outfielder when she got there. And over time, I've gotten to watch her play, and the conversation is being athletic.
2-2 pitch hit into center. Braytech has it measured for out number 3. But Florida gets a couple back. It's 7-0 Gators. We head to the bottom of the 4th here in Jacksonville. 7-0 Florida here in the 4th inning. The Gators lead Jacksonville 7 runs on 8 hits. No runs, 1 hit so far tonight. All the Dolphins have mustered against Ava Brown, who will continue in the circle. Let's take a look at the Florida upcoming schedule. The Gators are 4-1 to start the year. They began with a 1-0 victory over Oregon State. They've got Jacksonville tonight and tomorrow. The game on SEC ESPN Plus tomorrow. They have Georgia Southern after that, Loyola Chicago, and then College of Charleston here in the middle part of February. You can catch all those games televised on SEC Network and SEC Network Plus. And for the Dolphins, their schedule tonight and tomorrow against the Gators. And then how about Notre Dame? That's a big game coming up for Jacksonville, and then Samford and UNC Wilmington to round out their middle of February schedule. And now Kaylee Harrigan comes to the plate for Jacksonville. And Harrigan is ready to go to face Ava Brown. Brown has been very good tonight in the circle for Florida. Her first pitch of the 4th inning is off the plate outside. Just the 52nd pitch tonight for Brown, 51. That's pretty good for the 4th inning. 1 hit surrendered tonight by the Florida pitcher, and that was a shallow single to left by Gabby Robles, the Jacksonville left fielder. Harrigan takes a called strike. She is 0 for 1 with a flyout tonight for Jacksonville. It'll be Harrigan, Holtzrichter, and Carter due up here in the 4th for Jacksonville.
And again, JU just trying to really get something going. Your first step is you got to get runners on, so really executing every swing is going to matter.
Again, the pitch mix tonight for Ava Brown has been a curveball, screwball, rise ball, and a changeup. And she is somebody that will really change speeds in the circle. Throws from 58 to 65 on the radar gun, up to 66.
And that pitch there looked to be that pitch that Coach Walton's been telling you about, that in between.
The tweener.
And it's low and off the plate. That's a good pitch to have for them, and especially when they get late in the season.
Ava Brown, one of 2 pitchers who will see the bulk of the workload in the circle this year for Florida. Keegan Rothrock is the other. And Coach Walton told me yesterday that our pitchers have to have the mentality that they could pitch every game. And there's a fly ball out shallow left field, gobbled up by the shortstop Skylar Wallace, who's made some remarkable defensive plays tonight. The backhand throw is one that certainly comes to mind.
Yeah, again, and we talk about this a lot when I go and like speak to younger people. The biggest thing is you're a student athlete for one, but that athlete part really comes into play when you talk about positions and the ground you can cover and the plays you can make.
And Skylar Wallace has made some terrific plays at shortstop tonight. Ava Brown, 2-0 on the year. She went 2-0 over the opening weekend against Oregon State and Illinois State. Her first 2 outings, she went 5 and 3 innings. Only gave up 2 hits in 2 ball games. Did not surrender a run against Oregon State or Illinois State. And hasn't surrendered one tonight against Jacksonville. Swing and a miss by Kari Holtzrichter, the designated player tonight, the left-hand hitter for Jacksonville. Brown had 3 walks against Oregon State, 1 against Illinois State, and has 2 walks tonight, but 3 strikeouts. In fact, tonight is her season high in strikeouts. She's got 3 tonight. She had 1 apiece against Oregon State and Illinois State. The freshman out of Montgomery, Texas, spinning a gem in the circle tonight for the Gators. Mentioned Florida has the 1 hit off of her, a shallow single to left by Robles. Here's a pop up to second, and back and tracking the ball and making the play at second base is Mia Williams for Florida. So 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Florida leads Jacksonville 7-0.
Now batting number 17, Allison Carter.
Here's the Jacksonville right fielder, Allison Carter. Carter 0 for 1 tonight with a strikeout against Brown. First pitch to her. Big swing and a miss. Carter does have some power in her bat. Batting in the middle of the order this year for Coach Ayers.
And I've seen Carter in past seasons connect on the ball, and I would hate to be a car parked in right center field when she gets a hold of one. Good thing windshields are free in Florida.
Swing and a miss for strike 2. And, you know, Coach Ayers told me last week that this Jacksonville team is as tough as they've ever been. She said, look, there are going to be nights where there are going to be teams that may be more talented than we are, and Florida's probably going to be talented than most teams in the country, but she said we're trying to out-tough and outsmart everybody every time we play.
Yep, and when you're playing in games like this, the biggest thing is what do you take away? You know, any team or any person can put on a uniform, but it's how you compete, the mentality that you have, you know, having an approach when you're at bat, having a plan when you're on defense. All of those things really matter when it comes to playing in games like this.
1-2 the count on Allison Carter. Nobody on, 2 outs, bottom of the 4th inning. Here's the 1-2, swing and a miss. And Ava Brown records a strikeout and gets the Gators out of the inning. Jacksonville gets nothing there in the 4th inning. We go to the 5th. Florida leads 7-0. In Jacksonville, the Gators and the Dolphins meet for a home-and-home midweek series. Jacksonville tonight, Gainesville tomorrow. Andrew Gibson, Meg Mahalik here with you as we enter the 5th inning here on a chilly night in Jacksonville. Temperatures dipping into the 50s. Some places are colder, not than here, but you know, this is a place where we talked about this Friday, Meg, that teams like Ball State and Fordham, they come out of the cold up in the Midwest or the North. 55 is spring break.
Yeah, and the weather we're seeing right now, I feel like I could probably wear a parka and still not be warm enough. But for them, that's like a perfect spring temperature.
So the Gators lead Jacksonville 7-0. And Reagan Walsh is at the plate. She's done some damage tonight for the Florida offense. She's 2 for 2 with a double and has driven in a couple runs tonight for the Gators offense. She's the designated player tonight for Tim Walton, as she sees Shelby Harp, the 3rd pitcher of the night for Jacksonville. They started Ashley Harwood. She departed after 20 pitches. Krista Pritchard came in relief, and now it's Shelby Harp, the third pitcher of the night for Jacksonville. "3-0 the count. Here's the pitch to Walsh, and that's ball 4 to start the 5th inning. And again, we talk about Florida starting innings with base runners, and that's no different here in the 5th.
Yeah, and then when you talk about, your pitcher and the plan and trying to minimize your walks, because 9 times out of 10, a walk that gets on is typically going to be a run. So you think about it in that regard, and, those walks really come back to bite you a little bit. So, if you've got your defense behind you and they come in with some clutch plays, that's, a benefit to have too.
Base number 1, Brooke Bernard. Now batting for the Gators, number 47, Ariel Kowalewski.
A pinch runner coming on for Jacksonville. Brooke Bernard is at first, and Ariel Kowalewski is at the plate for the Gators. In the circle tonight for Jacksonville, 3 pitchers. Ashley Harwood recorded 1 out in the top of the first before she was lifted for Krista Pritchard, who went 2 2/3. Gave up 3 runs. Harwood gave up 1 earned, and Harp has not surrendered a run yet in 1 inning of work. She works into her 2nd inning of the game tonight in the 5th. Seven runs on 8 hits for Florida. No runs, 1 hit for Jacksonville. And a quick meeting in the circle with Avery Harkis and Shelby Harp. What do you think she's telling her right here, Meg?
Just trying to calm her down, saying, hey, it's time to zone in. You've got to work your way back into the strike zone. Don't worry about the batter that's already gotten on base. Flush it and keep moving and try and hit the zone and just work yourself back.
Kowalewski, the batter, the 2-0 count on her. There's a called strike. Kowalewski, the freshman from Richmond, Texas.
And one of the things I think it's important to mention, especially with all these young people that are here watching tonight, one of the biggest things is being a good teammate, taking that time. Like, you see your catcher go out, she goes out and resets her pitcher, and she comes back and throws a strike. Those are things that you can't teach, but these are the things that help these players be productive, especially when you're, seeing two teams like this in Florida. That's something that comes naturally for them. They already come to the table with that.
2-1 pitch is a called strike right down the middle. Kowalewski has hit safely in 4 straight games coming into tonight, but tonight she's 0 for 1. She's been hit by a pitch and has flown out tonight. The count even, 2-2. Runner at first, nobody out here in the 5th inning. Here's the pitch. Off the plate, outside, and now the count full on Kowalewski. Mia Williams and Kendra Falby due up after her in the Florida order tonight. 3-2 the count, full on Kowalewski. Harp comes home with the 3-2. Line drive, but foul down the third base line. First pitch tomorrow night in Gainesville, 6 o'clock. As a very short trip between these two schools. Three-two pitch. Here it comes again. This one hit into left and caught. Robles makes a dive and catch for Jacksonville. Nice play coming in on it, and here's the replay. Robles tracks this one, measures it in left. That's a great play by the left fielder.
That's a hard hit ball too there, off on a line, and to get a read like that and not let the ball fall.
Gabby Robles coming up with a big play defensively for the Dolphins in left. And like you said, Meg, that was a well-hit ball. So a hard out for Kowalewski. She's now 0 for 2 tonight, and here's Mia Williams.
And if you think about it too, Andrew, one of the things, the score is 7 right now, and, college run rule is 8 after 5, so defense, I know, is heads up, probably trying to keep that runner from getting around. It's going to be a big play inning for JU.
So that's a big out and left, runner at first for the Gators. Breaking ball off the plate outside. Coach Tim Walton talking to him this week about the trip that they've started this a couple of years ago, playing JU in Jacksonville and then going back to Gainesville. And he said, he likes it. It's an easy drive for both schools, good for the fans, good for the alums. Baseball does the same thing, a home and home. And he said, we kind of view it as a precursor to conference play where you get to play one team one night and then play them again the next night. Here's a high fly ball that hangs in the air and right for Carter, and she makes the catch and right.
Showing off the cannon a little bit on that throw-in.
So 2 away here in the top of the 5th. Gators have a runner at first.
Batting number 27, Kendra Falby.
For leadoff hitter Kendra Falby, who's 2 for 3 tonight. Falby has reached base with 2 base hits, and remember, she was also caught stealing earlier by Avery Harkis, trying to steal second. Also reached on an error, and now she's going to reach again. She's hit by a pitch and walks gingerly with a fist pump down the first base line. Here's her walk down to first base. She's just trying to jog and run it out after she was hit by the pitch. Here's the replay. Oh, she got hit right in the inside part of the knee. Ouch.
That is a tough spot to take a pitch. It's not a lot of cushion there.
No, and you see batters will have cushion about everywhere, but there's not much you can do about the inside part of the knee.
Yeah, no, the little bit of a catcher's joke I have is you got all this gear on, and so, even as a catcher, you still get hit where the gear's not.
Yes.
So the hitting pads kind of are the same thing.
So runners at first and second for the Gators, 2 outs in the 5th for Corby Otis. Otis tonight is 1 for 3. Has flown out twice. Here for the Gators tonight offensively. Shelby Harp working on her 31st pitch. Here it is. This one hit up the middle, but caught. Maddie Reynolds comes over, ranging from her second base position behind the bag, makes the catch. The Gators strand 2. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Let's take one more look at the put out by Reynolds at second. Line drive up the middle. Good job behind the second base bag by Reynolds. Jacksonville comes to the plate here, trailing 7-0 against the Florida Gators. Andrew Gibson, Meg Mahalik back with you at the Pruitt Softball Complex in Jacksonville, bottom of the 5th. Ava Brown continues to work in the circle. And she faces Madison Reynolds to start the 5th. Nineteenth ranked Florida Gators here in Jacksonville. They've been seen ranked this week as high as 16th in the country. On a 4-1 start, Reynolds hits this one up in the air, left field side. Left fielder coming over to make the play as Corby Otis gives way. As Skylar Wallace could have taken that, but Otis comes over and makes the play behind her.
Now batting number 4, Avery Harkis.
Jacksonville catcher Avery Harkis to the plate, 0 for 1 with a ground out tonight. Coach Tim Walton really complimented the growth of the program for Jacksonville this week, and he even said, Meg, that he's noticed the improvements around the field, the cage, the improvements Jacksonville's made on campus. He even mentioned the basketball complex right behind first base side that was built a handful of years ago. You know, just showing the improvements that Jacksonville has made to the softball program and as a campus as a whole.
Absolutely, and you know, going back to the warm-up area where the cages are, that was under construction.
Ground ball to second. Play is made. Mia Williams records the put out, 2 away here in the 5th, and yeah, that basketball performance facility behind the first base side, very good facility here at JU.
Number 11, Gabby Robles.
So here is Gabby Robles for Jacksonville. The important thing to know about Robles, she's the only Jacksonville hitter that has a hit tonight against Ava Brown. Brown has surrendered 1 hit tonight, and it was a shallow single to left by Robles. Here's a ground ball to first, and that'll be put away for the Gators as Avery Gell steps on the first base bag, and that'll be all for Jacksonville in the 5th. We head to the 6th here in Jacksonville and runs. A good job so far in relief by Hart.
Yeah, and defensively, they're competing really well. It's just some of those little things that they maximized on in the first inning is really what put them ahead.
Harp, the 3rd pitcher of the evening tonight for Jacksonville. They started with Ashley Harwood. She went a third of an inning. And then they went to Krista Pritchard for 2 2/3. And now Shelby Harp works into the 6th inning for Jacksonville. And she sees Skylar Wallace to start the 6th. For Ava Brown, we saw the pitching numbers. She has been spectacular, only giving up the 1 hit, no runs tonight for the Florida pitcher. 2-0 pitch to Wallace is off the plate outside. Skylar Wallace coming in tonight, 2nd in the team in hits behind Kendra Falby, and Falby's got 2 more tonight, so she'll add to that leading total. Wallace hitting .500 coming in tonight. The Gators shortstop out of Georgia. Fouled straight back. Wallace has homered twice this year for Florida. She homered in the opener against Oregon State and then back over the weekend against USF. SEC Player of the Year, 1st team All-American last year for Wallace. Hitters count for her 3-1. Off the plate outside, now it'll be 3-1. The NFCA Player of the Year last year as well for Wallace. She hit .447 with 67 hits last year. Here's a sharply hit ground ball to Reynolds at second. She can't find it. Reynolds could not hang on to it. That should have been a ground ball out. But Skylar Wallace reaches to start the 6th inning, and I think for maybe the 4th straight inning, the Gators have had a leadoff runner at first. And that's just tough on a pitcher, no matter who it is in the circle. If your leadoff hitter gets on almost every inning, you're always going to battle that traffic on the bases, unless you get a quick out, which Jacksonville really needs down in a 7-0 ball game. And here is Jocelyn Erickson. Erickson a double tonight as well. Has driven in a couple and flown out twice. The Florida catcher at the plate. The 1-0 from Harp. Off the plate inside, Shelby Harp. That's Harp with an E on the end of it. Senior left-hander. And, you know, bringing her in as the 3rd pitcher, it's almost like, okay, we're down 7-0. Let's bring in a senior, a lefty, to try to settle things down, and she's done that.
She has done that. When you think about the pitching changes, it's also seeing who can manufacture fly balls and ground balls.
Fly ball to center. Braytek tracks it. She will throw back to first, and she threw it away. This one will ricochet off the first base dugout, and Harkis is right there to field it. Otherwise, Skylar might have thought of going from first to second, but that one, where it was off the carom, off the first base fence, that would have been a tough play to advance anywhere.
Yeah, that netting across the front, when it hits off that, it does come back pretty quick. So good decision to hold up there.
So one away after the fly out to center, and this is Ava Brown back at the plate. Brown, tonight's pitcher. She's 1 for 2 tonight. In the circle, she's thrown 5 innings, and she bats for herself here in the 6th. Runner at first for Florida, 1 out. Runner going, throw down from Harkis, not in time, as Maddie Reynolds, her glove, she got hit on the non-glove hand and kind of shook her hand a little bit after that one. Here's the replay.
I was wondering if it was the ball or a cleat.
I think she just got hit by the ball. So there's a stolen base for the Gators from first to second. So Wallace gets the steal, 2-1 the count. Now 3-1. And for Skylar Wallace, that is her 5th stolen base this year for Florida. 3-1 the count. Ground ball to third. Braytek looks back Wallace and fires a seed to first. Throw back to third, and she's safe. A head first slide going from second to third by Wallace. That was a good try by Kaylee Harrigan to try to get a double play. But Skylar Wallace goes in safely with dirt on her white pants tonight. Here's the look at the head first slide after the ground out by Brown. And she's in there safely on the throw.
Yeah, and with the speed of Wallace, you're really, she's going to time that really well and go as soon as the throw's released. So that's just a tough out to get right there.
So here's Bailey Goddard, the right fielder for the Gators, to the plate with runner at third and 2 outs here in the 6th. Goddard, the redshirt senior from Orange Park, Florida, playing in her hometown area tonight. One-0 pitch to Goddard, and this one hit her on the elbow. So an inside pitch hits Goddard on the elbow. And Goddard's been hit twice tonight, both on the elbow pad.
On that elbow guard.
Well, this could be trouble for Jacksonville, but there's 2 outs because Reagan Walsh has really been blistering the baseball, the softball here tonight for the Gators. 2 for 2 as the designated player.
And we'll see if JU has any first and third play call here.
And Reagan Walsh about swings out of her shoes on that one, but fouls it straight back. Walsh is 2 for 2 with a double, an RBI, and a walk tonight against Jacksonville pitching. She has really seen the ball well. Number 15 for the Gators, the designated player. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. Jacksonville trying to find an out wherever they can get one. The pitch from Harp, way upstairs. Walsh, the junior out of Redondo Beach, California. The 1-1 pitch, way upstairs. Walsh homered once already this year against Illinois State on the 10th. Had a double against Michigan, the only loss of the year for the Gators, as they are 4-1, and now Harp can't find the zone. This one's upstairs again, 3-1.
And again, Harp still doing a good job so far, minus the hit by pitch. Keeping the ball down, manufacturing pop-ups and ground balls, and trying to force the defense to make plays for her.
3-1 pitch to Walsh. This one is a high fly ball, but foul down the third base line. Walsh has to be happy with herself tonight in the performance that she's had so far. She came into tonight batting .214, but she's gone 2 for 2 tonight to up her average. The count is now full. Here it is, the 3-2 pitch. Well hit to deep center field off the bat of Walsh. This one's going to carry out of here for a home run. Reagan Walsh has gone 3 for 3 tonight for the Gators, and she blasts a 2-run homer out to center field. That was a belted home run ball off the bat of Walsh, and here's another look.
And that ball just completely off the barrel, and it's going right off the bat. You already know it's going over. Good connection on that pitch.
And so now a meeting in the circle after the home run for Walsh, a 3 off the bat of Reagan Walsh, who's gone 3 for 3 tonight for Florida. And it's a 10-0 lead for the nationally ranked Gators. Reese Wells throws in a strike on her first pitch.
Definitely a good start for the freshman there. Coming in relief. That's a tough spot sometimes, coming in relief, and you already know you're down in runs. Just trying to manufacture an out here to get out of the inning.
Kowalewski, the batter for Florida. After the 3-run homer by Reagan Walsh. 3 for 3 night for Walsh. And the line now for Florida, 10 runs on 9 hits. No runs, 1 hit for Jacksonville, 2 errors in the field tonight for the Dolphins. Here's a hard hit ball. Kaylee Harrigan squeezes it at first for the final out, but Florida gets more runs on the board to make it 10-0, working on a 1-hit shutout against the Jacksonville Dolphins. Here's a look at the score by inning. Gators jumped on them 4-0 in the first inning. They've added 6 more to make it 10-0. As we start the 6th inning, Ava Brown in position to go the entire way tonight for Coach Tim Walton and the Gators. 71 pitches into the 6th. Starting off the 6th inning, Meg Jazz Jones.
And JU here just looking to try and manufacture a little spark plug, something to get some runners on. They've got to score here to keep themselves in the game.
For Jacksonville, as Jones takes a called strike, 2-1, it'll be Jones, Braytek, and Braytek here in the 6th inning. Madison followed by Allison, the scheduled hitters for the Dolphins. We mentioned only 1 hit from Gabby Robles, the only hit so far tonight for Jacksonville, as she takes a breaking ball for a called strike. Now the count even, 2-2. Coach Walton really likes the way that Ava Brown has pitched, really likes the staff as a whole so far this year. A 1-hit shutout so far for Brown. Florida's team ERA 0.21. That'll get things done. And that's top 5 in the country. They've only allowed 1 earned run and now 40-plus innings so far this year. In fact, to be exact, they have given up 1 earned run in 40 innings. We're getting close to a run rule. Florida has done that already twice this year. Meg, explain what the run rule is in college softball.
Yep, in college softball, it is whoever is ahead by 8 runs after 5 innings. So
we'll show you a graphic that shows you exactly what the run rule is in Division I softball. In just a moment, 3-2 the count now. Here at the bottom of the 6th. Jacksonville needs runs to try to prevent a run rule here.
And again, the Dolphins, they've really been swinging the bat. They just haven't strung enough together to keep themselves in a position to manufacture runs.
Fouled straight back to stay alive. So here's what we were explaining to you moments ago, the 8-run rule in college softball.
Shall be declared by the plate umpire if one team is ahead by 8 or more runs after 5 or more equal innings. And so the equal innings part is JU being the home team, they'll finish out the 6 to give them their chance.
Strike 3 called, a backwards K for Ava Brown. A breaking ball right over the center of the plate, and Brown gives a fist pump coming out of the circle after this one. Here's another look.
And there's that pitch you've been talking about all night, that in between, and that's a I don't know what the term would be for that, but it's a like a curve change. There's different pitch calls. Pitchers can move the ball so many different ways these days.
So the strikeout, the 5th, that's a season high and a career high for Ava Brown because she's a freshman for Florida. So a career night so far for Brown in the circle for the Gators. And here's Maddie Braytek, the center fielder, 0 for 1. Called strike on the inner half. Braytek 0 for 1 with a walk and a ground out tonight. The younger sister of Allie Braytek, both went to Creekside High School here in the Jacksonville area. Her big sister's having a big year, and she follows her in the batting order tonight. Maddie coming in with a .462 average. She's not doing bad herself. 80 pitches now for Ava Brown. Here's the 1-0. Hard hit ball, third base side, but foul. Temperature right now, as you saw it on your screen, 57.
It's about like Alaskan temperatures for Florida.
Our first pitch temperature tonight was about 60 degrees at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow in Gainesville, our first pitch will be 6 as well, as Jacksonville travels to Gainesville tomorrow night for the second leg of this midweek series. Florida working on a 10-0 shutout here in Jacksonville. Gators 28-0 all time against Jacksonville. Here is the 2-0 pitch, swung on and fouled straight back.
And Andrew, when you talked earlier about Coach Walton being excited about the fact that they're playing, tonight and tomorrow night, kind of that series preparation, because when they play their 3-game series, Florida does a single game each day versus a doubleheader and then a single game.
2-0 pitch, fouled back again. Yeah, Coach Walton was saying that, they kind of view it as the precursor to conference play. When you play a home-and-home in the midweek non-conference, you get a team one day, then turn around and face the same team again. And he said you kind of find out the adjustments that need to be made from night to night. 2-1, ground ball, third base side, foul. And the way that Coach Walton described Jacksonville, said they're a tough, competitive team, and said we had a tight score when they played them in the fall, and said expect nothing less in these 2 games. But it's been a tough night offensively for Jacksonville. They just haven't had much to work with against Ava Brown. The freshman for Florida has been lights out tonight, only giving up 1 hit, no earned runs. 2-2. Swung on, fouled back, first base side this time.
Yeah, and I was here on the call actually for that game last year when Florida came to JU and played, and I tried to go back in some of my old notes, and I remember seeing it was late in the game when they started scoring. And again, Florida being a strong hitting team, once one hit started to happen, they just kind of strung them all together. And
fly ball to right. This one is foul. Madison Braytek giving a battle here to Ava Brown. Has fouled off a couple of pitches in a row now.
this is the most extended at-bat we've had so far in this game. I like it.
Braytek making her work here. 2-2. Another foul ball. Those are always tough outs, batters that just continuously foul pitches off. And that's what Braytek's doing in this AB right now. Her sister Allie and Kaylee Harrigan would be next here in the 6th inning. Off the plate outside. Now the count is full. 3-2.
Yeah, and the mentality here is just to win each pitch. You see her resetting every time she comes out of the box, and she's focusing on this next pitch.
3-2 pitch. Off the plate, she draws a walk. What an at-bat right there by Maddie Braytek. She fouls pitch after pitch off and then draws a walk after all of that. Allie Braytek trying to keep it alive here in the 6th for Jacksonville. Braytek is 0 for 2 tonight. She has flown out twice. The Jacksonville leader in home runs, hits, RBIs, everything offensively. Allison Braytek has been the engine that keeps the Jacksonville offense going so far in 2024. Braytek top 15 in the country with 3 doubles. Here's the pitch. The 0-1 down low for ball 1. One out, one on for Braytek here in the bottom of the 6th, trailing 10-0 against the Gators. The pitch popped up. Let's see if it'll stay in play, and it will. Catcher makes the play. Jocelyn Erickson records the out right in front of the netting behind home plate.